Morning, Dung.
Morning.
Thank you for coming today.
It's a pleasure.
Before we start the building inspection, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, tell them who you are, where you're from, what do you do?
Sure. So my name is Dung. I'm a local building inspector based in Hurstville here, and I'm part of the Jim Building Inspection Group. My background is as an architect, so something slightly different to most of the inspector out there.
First question.
Sure.
What exactly is pre-purchase building and pest inspection, and why is it important to have one done?
So basically, in a nutshell, a building and pest inspection report is a formal assessment that is carried out by an independent building inspector or building professional like myself, and it's given the prospective buyer an overall assessment on the condition of the property. Why is it important to have one? So basically, when a buyer walks through a property, usually they only have 10-15 minutes to walk through, and they'll only give you the time to walk through the commonly accessible area to pretty much everyone. Where someone like myself walking with property, we'll be able to walk through all the hidden space, like the subfloor, the roof cavity, so give you a more thorough assessment on the property. But more importantly, the bottom line with the building and timber pest inspection report will give you able to identify any major defect or issue or any termite damage that potentially could be a pitfall if the buyer proceed ahead with the property, because that could potentially set you back financially that you might not have the fund for.
Question number 2. What does your inspection service cover, and are there any limitations?
So pretty much with a building and timber pest, we basically cover for two components at the report suggests. There's a building component and then a timber pest component. So with the building component, we are looking to identify any major or minor or just safety hazard with the building component or building structure of the property. And with the timber pest report component, we're looking for any evidence of active termite activity or any previous or past damage that occurred at the property. In terms of limitation, obviously as a building inspector, we are not licensed trade like electrician or plumber, so we can visually inspect those areas and note them down on visual assessment, but we cannot give an assessment on any further than that in terms of whether they are correctly installed and whatnot. So those are the limitations in terms of our report. And also we don't go into things like compliance and on building structure, what have been built, and so on and so forth.
Question 3. How do you report on the findings? What items are included in the report?
So basically, once we walk through the property, I said on the building component, once we identify any issue or defects, we classify them into the level of severity. So you start with a safety hazard where it would identify anything we deem that unsafe for the occupant or the owner, and then we classify it unsafe or as a safety hazard. And then anything that major or we deem that to be a major defect, obviously we report accordingly. So then got minor and so on and so forth.
How do you report, and what items are included?
So basically with the item included, obviously with the building, we're generally looking at the building structure. So any furnishing or any, for example, floor cover that might not be included because that's part of the furnishing. And in terms of any external building structure, like a carport structure or external shed, we do cover those kind of items, and including up until the fence line, the boundary fence, we do inspect all those areas.
Number 4, what technology or tools do you use during your inspections?
So there's quite a few tools that we use during our inspection. One of them, the main thing, is probably a torch that gives us access to darker space and whatnot. A moisture meter to detect any moisture at the property, or a thermal imaging camera that will also help with the termite and timber pest inspection, and also a thing like a tapping tools, spirit level, those kind of to also help with inspection as well.
Number 5, can you inspect properties of any age or type, and are there any that you specialize in?
So pretty much in terms of inspection, it's a bit cliche, but we pretty much inspect anything from big to small. But generally, we do inspect, whether commercial, industrial, residential, ranging on freestanding standing house to a strata building complex or apartment. Personally, I tend to do 90% of my work is in residential pre-purchase, so that I would say more where I'm more specialized in my pocket kind of thing.
Amazing. Number 6, how long will the inspection take and how soon will I receive the report?
So a typical inspection depends on the size of the property, obviously. For example, you get me to inspect a unit or an apartment, that typically take me about 20 to 30 minutes. But whereas I'm inspecting something like this house, probably take me about 90 minutes to 2 hours because of the extra space where there's the roof cavity and the subfloor where I have to get into and make sure those are thoroughly inspected. So yeah, and basically once I come through the property, the buyer expect the report to come back to them within 24 hours.
Number 8, can you share an interesting or scary story about building and test inspections?
Sure. I mean, fortunately, I haven't come across any close call or mishap, but interesting, I have rocked up to a few property or the wrong property and see the reaction of the vendor or the owner. It was quite interesting.
Anything that you found under the house or in the roof that's pretty scary? Or
From time to time, I find dead carcass of possum or rats and so on and so forth, which is very common. I haven't come across myself personally, but some of my colleagues have come across snake skins and so on and so forth. So could be quite scary down there.
Okay, last question. How do people reach out to you if they want to engage your service?
So in order to reach out to me, obviously people can contact the Jim's group through their main number, which is 131-546. Then also they can request for myself, so request for Dung or Jim Building Inspection Hurstville, or they can just go into Google and look up Jim Building Inspection Hurstville and be able to get me through there.